Welcome to today's live stream. I hope you are feeling well. We are back together again. Oh, hello over there. Can you see us? We are back. We are once again live as live can be. Hi, everybody. This is Mr. Duncan and
Mr. Steve.
How are you today? Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Hi,
Start again.
Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan and Mr. Steve in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I'm not happy. Not now anyway. I hope so. Here we are once again live across YouTube. And please don't ask me about technical problems because I did have some technical problems a few moments ago. So all I can say is I hope you can hear us, and I hope you can hear us clearly. That's all I'm worried about at the moment.
Microphone issues. Let's hope they're all fixed, Mr. Duncan.
There's always some. This is the problem. You never see the stress that I go through. One day I will drop dead, and the reason will be YouTube. I want that on my death certificate. I want cause of death. YouTube, because it is very stressful doing this. You don't realise. What are you doing there, Mr. Steve?
I'm playing a violin, Mr. Duncan.
Well, what you do now, you see, you don't play a big one, you play a very small one. So the joke now is you play a very small violin, because that's how much you care about that person's distress. So it is one of these days. I want you to record this now. Record what I'm about to say. One day, YouTube is going to kill me because it's so stressful. It really is.
Well, we hope not, Mr. Duncan. We don't want that to happen, do we? Not at all. We had fun yesterday, didn't we?
Oh, we had a lot of fun yesterday.
Anybody watch yesterday?
Did you see it yesterday? We were in the kitchen making pancakes because yesterday was Pancake Day, where people make pancakes and then they eat them. Normally, well, in the past it was religious. It was all about religion, but these days it's just about eating pancakes, really. No one really cares about the rest of it.
I think my first attempt yesterday was supreme, I think. On the pancake. If anybody watched it, you probably would have had a good laugh.
Yes.
And if you didn't see it and you want to have a laugh and see somebody attempting to make some pancakes.
So can you see it there on the screen?
Then go and watch. That was my first attempt.
Well, I'm going to tell you something now.
What's that?
That is not your pancake. Someone else tried to make pancakes. And that is actually their pancake, not yours.
Oh.
Because eventually, if you were watching yesterday, I won't give the ending. So I'm not going to spoil it for you. But yesterday we did have a few problems making the first pancake. It didn't go entirely how we intended it to go. But this is not yours. This is actually, believe it or not, a member of the royal family of this country. It was her attempt at making pancakes. So I don't think you should feel so bad anymore, Steve, about your attempt, because yesterday is it the Duchess? Is she the Duchess? The Duchess of Sussex? Is that right?
I think so.
Or Essex? It's one of them, isn't it? Anyway, let's not worry too much about that. Kate Middleton is her name, and yesterday she was trying to toss some pancakes and she made a terrible mess. And the mess is what you can see on the screen right now. So that's not yours, Mr. Steve. That's actually the future Queen Consort of this country.
Isn't
She can't even toss a pancake.
Because isn't William now the Prince of Wales?
Yeah.
Hasn't he taken that? So is she the Princess of Wales?
Oh, of course, yes. You know why I have difficulty with that? Because whenever anyone says the Princess of Wales, I always think of Princess Diana.
Yes.
I can't get that out of my head. So I don't think, technically, personally, I don't think there should be another Princess of Wales. It's a bit like having another Elvis Presley, isn't it, really? You can't have another one. There's only one Elvis, and there is only one Princess of Wales, and that's Princess Diana. Rest in peace, or should I say rest in pieces.
I still remember exactly where I was when I heard the news.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Duncan, I was sitting on a bed in Malaysia. We were on holiday and put the news on, and I can still remember where I was. It's like that moment. People say when something significant happens, like when President Kennedy was assassinated, things like that. People say they always remember where they were when they heard the news.
I know where I was. I was suckling on my mother's breast.
What, when Princess Diana died?
That would be very interesting if it was true. But no, I'm on about Kennedy. When Kennedy was assassinated, actually, I think he was. I don't think I was even born.
No, it was 1961, I think.
It wasn't 61. See, this is it. You see, you're now saying things that are making us look stupid.
What?
I think it was 64.
Was it 64?
63 or 64. It was a long time ago, and I think it was before I was I was born.
So I was probably 3 then, so I probably was still suckling on my mother's breast.
Yes, well,
because I was still about 12, wasn't I?
Yes, Mr. Steve. Can you believe it? Mr. Steve was breastfed until he was about 8.
Yeah, well, that is true.
He used to go up to his mother and said, "Come on, Mum, get them out. I'm thirsty."
No, the story that we're relating there is a funny story that we told to a friend, because my mother always was sort of used to boast, really.
Okay.
That I breastfed for a very long time.
Yes.
So it became the length of time that I breastfed used to sort of get extended.
We're not saying that Steve was breastfeeding a child. That's impossible. But we were on about Mr. Steve's mum. But it's a myth. It's one of those legends.
But it was a long time. But I think I told somebody I was 4 or 5, and they said that can't be possible.
But the thing is, you can say it now, and it's true, because it's the most trendy thing now amongst trendy mothers. Apparently, they breastfeed their kids now until they're walking around.
Well, I was. My mother used to say to me, mothers watching,
yeah,
how long can you breastfeed a baby for?
Yes. I think if they're standing upright and walking around and talking, I think that's the time to take them away from the titty.
And if they reach puberty, then you probably get quite worried, don't you, as a parent?
That would be very, especially if you wake up in the night and they're doing it.
But no, joking aside, how long can you breastfeed a baby for?
Yes. How long?
Is it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 6 months? I don't know.
I think it's probably a year and a half, because after a couple of years, when a child is 2, I think they can start eating on their own. But what a strange way of starting today's lesson.
My mother used to always tell me stories of how much weight I would put on every week.
Yes.
When she would take me to be weighed.
It is true. You were quite fat when you were a child.
I was a big baby. I was 9 pounds something.
Yes.
You wouldn't think to look at me now.
No, definitely.
But my mother attested all that growth. I was putting on like pounds a week.
Yes, and I bet she said it was because you were on the titty.
Yes, well, not quite like that. She would just say because she was eating lots of fish, lots of mackerel, all sorts of things like that, apparently lots of healthy food.
She wasn't trying to feed you fish as a baby, was she?
I don't know, but apparently I was...
like a penguin. Penguins, when they eat fish, it's amazing. Have you ever seen a penguin eat a fish? They just put the whole fish in their mouth and then...
But what is a message flashed up there? I won't put it on. But mothers out there who have had children, how long should you breastfeed? I mean, it's something I'd like to know.
Yes, I would like to know because I'm never going to have a child. You see, you may have noticed, I don't have anything here to nourish a baby. So I can only guess.
Well, of course, you've got to be careful what you say now, haven't you?
Have you?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I mean, you could describe yourself as having breasts if you were somebody who was transitioning.
Well, of course, all men over 50 have breasts anyway.
That is true.
It is true. So if you are thinking of transitioning to a lady, just wait until you're in your 50s and you'll get them anyway. Because most men over 50 have big boobies anyway. So you just wait.
Well,
be patient.
Men can get breast cancer. It's not unknown. I mean, it's obviously not as common as women getting breast cancer, but men can get breast cancer because as they get older, they do develop sort of breast-like tissues and they can get the same... Because there's some sort of embryonic remains there.
That is
I won't get into it. But apparently
it is so boring what you're
talking about. It's not boring for men.
It's boring me.
Why do you say that, Mr. Duncan? Just because it bores you doesn't mean it's boring other people.
Okay, men can get breast cancer.
They can get breast cancer.
But we're getting replies already. Here.
I know we are, yes. Well, I'm about to get to that.
Get to your job. This is your job.
He's so bossy, isn't he? Why do I come on here
This
at all?
is what you're supposed to be doing, the live chat. Hello, live chat. Oh, hello, Vitas, by the way. Vitas, guess what? Vitas is first on today's live chat. Congratulations to Vitas.
Yes, Intelligent makes an interesting point.
Hello, Intelligent. Haven't seen you here for a long time.
A lot of people have been saying hello to Intelligent and was second on today, I believe, on the live chat. Yes, her husband was quite large when he was born, but now he's quite lean and has never struggled with weight. And this is what they do say, isn't it? That
yes.
If you're a big baby and you're breastfed, then you tend to have less problems with weight gain when you get older. I don't know. It must be something to do with the development of...
We're getting answers to the question, though. That's what I
know
want.
we are, yes. We are, yes.
Can we get to the question?
Well, we'll get to it, Mr.
What's
Duncan, if
the
you give me a
age?
chance.
Come on, quickly.
Well, looks like 1 year. So Christina says a friend of hers has been breastfeeding her son till 1 year of age. 2 years apparently isn't healthy. I must get painful, let's face it, because once the baby's developing teeth...
I know.
Then...
it's bad enough when you're chewing on mine.
Exactly. He's joking. And it must get to the point where it's too painful, I would think.
Yes.
But they can be breastfed up to 2 years of age.
If there was ever a subject that we are not qualified to talk about...
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm just saying, yes, it's just a comment, Steve.
Yes.
Don't worry, I'm not putting you down.
Yes, you are. You're against me. Everyone's against me.
Well, that's true.
I'm a bit paranoid.
All right, Steve.
Carmen says you stop breastfeeding when you feel exhausted.
Yes. But it is probably around about 2 years old. So it would appear that most people are saying after 2 years old. So I was right. So a child normally starts eating after about a year and a half. So maybe you keep the breast milk flowing because of the extra nutrients. I think so. But there we go. Well,
yes. What was I going to say? But I forgot what I was going to say. Then something about my mother used to tell me about bringing me up, which it's nice to get this information. Oh yes, she used to say that when she was bringing me up breastfeeding. Then the nurse, the midwife, as we call them in the UK, a person that looks after you when the baby is being born, and then also afterwards, is called a midwife. So they're a nurse, but they just specialise in babies.
Okay.
Well, I'm just explaining it.
Is there a point?
There is a point, Mr. Duncan, and the point is that my mother said that when I was a baby, the midwife would say, "Don't put your baby on solids. I will not put your baby on solids."
How many times did your mother tell us this
I know,
story?
but nobody else has heard it.
But when? What age?
Well, as I say, I think I was 4 or 5.
Yes, I think it's all right.
I think I'm joking.
I have no idea what you're talking about now.
Well, no. Back in the day, in the 1960s, they didn't want babies to go onto solid food
Okay.
until the absolute last possible moment.
You know, I wish I hadn't raised this topic now. I wish I hadn't raised
But
it.
of course, as we know, as it got into the sort of 80s and 90s,
Anyway,
then it was baby milk and all this kind. People were putting their babies onto solid food almost straight away.
solid food. Here we go.
I'm going to go in a minute. Mr. Duncan.
Steve, a lot of people have been asking about our T-shirts. So my T-shirt.
That's boring. Boring.
This isn't boring. This is how I'm going to make some money. So I'm hoping it's either this or sell my bottom on the streets.
Well, you tried that. It didn't work.
By the way, if you want a bit of action, I am hanging around the Guildhall on Friday nights at about 10 p.m. And so if you would like one of these T-shirts, I'm an English addict. Are you? Then I might be putting these up for sale soon.
Well, I hope you got deep. How much are they? £100 each?
They are not. They are not £100 each. Thank you, Steve.
We'll take a load to Paris and flog them on the streets by the Eiffel Tower.
By the Eiffel Tower.
Yes.
I've noticed that's the only landmark Mr. Steve knows about in Paris.
Well, that's where, if you go to Paris, last time we went there are lots of people selling sort of, models of the Eiffel Tower and things like that, aren't they, all around?
Yeah.
So what we can do is we can set up a stall selling your T-shirts.
Yes.
Okay.
And
maybe if you buy a T-shirt, you get a free Eiffel Tower with it, something like that.
Yes. Maybe if you buy an Eiffel Tower, you get a free T-shirt.
Well, we could suggest that to the many sellers that are there.
Anyway, I don't know what's happened to us this morning, but we seem very hyperactive.
Yes.
Too active. So if you're watching us for the first time, can I just say this is not what we're normally like. We're normally much more boring, to be honest.
Axma John, thank you for saying hello. Lots of people are saying hello here. Double Sash is here as well today. Lewis, of course, is here. Alexandra, Florence. So many people, I can't mention everybody's names. There's too many to mention.
Anyway, Steve, calm down slightly. Take a deep breath and think of England. We mentioned yesterday the trip to Paris. We have a possible date or time. Now, I'm going to point out what is happening with this. We are arranging the meetup in Paris away from YouTube. So if you are interested in meeting up in Paris, we are doing all of the details and all of the arranging away from YouTube. So we are not going to talk about the actual definite arrangements. But if you are interested in meeting up in Paris, send me an email with your name and some contact details as well, because I will need to contact you directly. Oh my goodness.
Isn't that exciting?
It's exciting. So if you are interested in meeting up in Paris, we are now coming up with dates. We are trying to arrange something, but we are not doing any of the arrangements on YouTube. And I'm sure you know why. So it is for security for us and also for yourselves as well. So that's the reason why. You know the email address. I will put it on the screen right now. So there it is. Please get in touch if you are interested in getting up close and personal with us when we go to Paris. We will let you know. It will be early June. I will give you that detail because I think that's important.
Yes.
So if you have a rough idea in your head that you might be free at the beginning of June.
First week of June.
That's all we're saying here. All the other details will be away from YouTube. We will get in touch personally and arrange everything. So please get in touch if you are interested. And I know we have at least 3 people who would like to get in touch in person. Ooh.
Vitas said, where was the echo for Lewis?
Oh, of course. How could I forget? Can I say hello to Luis Mendez?
That was just for you, Vitas, and also obviously for Lewis. We could have a different sound effect for different people, couldn't we?
We could.
We could do.
But we're not.
We haven't got enough, that's right. People are talking about the Eiffel Tower. Apparently a lot of Parisians don't like it, and they'd like to take it down.
Well, it was. You do know it was supposed to be temporary.
Yes.
Yes, it was only supposed to be there for about 6 weeks.
That's right.
They built it. It took them longer to build it than it was supposed to have been on display. So it was built especially for the Parisians to look at, but also to shake their fists at.
It was a gift from someone, wasn't it?
It was not.
I think it was a gift, wasn't it? I thought it was a gift from
It was
somewhere.
not. It was not.
Maybe people can tell us.
Gustave Eiffel is the person who designed it, a Frenchman. So no. No, it wasn't a gift. It was a big gift. How do you wrap that up? That's a lot of wrapping paper.
Well, you put it on a boat, don't you? You put all those pylons, all those thick metal bars on a ship.
But no.
I thought it was a.
They did gift, of course, the Statue of Liberty to the United States. In fact,
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
In fact, there are now around 3 versions around the world of the Eiffel, not the Eiffel Tower. Although there is also versions of the Eiffel Tower. There is one in China. There's an Eiffel Tower in China. I'm not joking. And also there are many versions of the Statue of Liberty as well.
Braham says, I wish I could be with you in Paris. Well, this is just, maybe the first meetup. We may choose other countries.
We'll see how it goes.
It could all go terribly wrong.
You might all be terrible people in real life, in which case it will never happen again.
Well, yes. So the basic message is we're not going to arrange it on via YouTube.
Yeah, that's it. As we said,
repeat it again because for obvious reasons. And we'll announce it again on Sunday anyway.
I don't want to end up like John Paul Getty III. Let's just say.
Well, you're right. Okay. Yes. Well, Mr. Duncan, what are we talking about today?
Can't you guess?
Axma John had a question. What was it?
Can't you guess what we're talking about?
62 is the answer.
Yes.
62.
The number of boyfriends Mr. Steve has had in his life.
No, just in the last year. I'm joking.
Today we are talking about Law and Order. I love today's thumbnail. Steve, have you seen it?
Yes, it's interesting that you make yourself the lawmaker and I'm the criminal.
I'm the prison officer or the policeman, and Mr. Steve is in prison. But I have noticed you look very pleased. You look excited.
That's because you've got a very large truncheon in your hand.
No, I think Steve is hoping that his cellmate will be black. I think so.
Pardon? Well, as I said, judging by the size of that, anyway, we won't go. That's dirty. We don't want smut on this channel.
You're being dirty, not me.
Right. Yes. Oh, interesting. Right.
What?
Okay.
I wish you'd use words. I don't know what that noise was. Just anything, Steve?
Oh, according to Lewis, it was the army that saved the Eiffel Tower because they use it as a transmitter.
Oh, I see. I thought you were going to say for target practice.
You couldn't take it down now, could you? It's iconic.
Yes.
I mean, it's the most iconic landmark probably in any country anywhere.
Ooh, Steve.
I mean, it's got to be one of the top, hasn't it?
You are going to annoy everyone now saying that.
I'm just saying
there
everybody.
are. Yes, I know, but I'm not. I'm just. Oh, I bet there are lots of people now shaking their fists at their monitor or their mobile device, saying, "No, we have a famous landmark There is, of course, the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Yes.
Very famous. It's falling over slowly.
They've stopped that.
And everyone goes there and they all pretend. They all do that thing where they pretend to be holding it up.
They did a lot of work on that, didn't they? I saw a programme about
They
it where
did.
they sort of supported the foundation so it won't lean anymore,
No.
apparently.
Well, they've worked out when it will fall over. They reckon it will fall over at some point because gravity, gravity just always has the last word. Whatever happens, if you trip up in the street, there is gravity. It's saying, hello, welcome to the pavement.
Christina, well, we could come to Rome. I mean, we will probably go there one day.
Can we just do Paris first and see what happens? If we survive Paris, then we might do it somewhere else.
And we have a nice time and you're all nice to us, then we'll go somewhere else.
And also it might take us another 10 years to save up enough money to do it.
Well,
again.
I think the next place to go would be South America.
I don't. That's even worse. Although, I tell you something, Steve, that might be one of the best places in the world to be at the moment because there might be nuclear war. They might be dropping those A-bombs everywhere. So apparently the safest place is maybe South America and Australia because everyone's going there because they can hide under their tables, and then when the big mushroom cloud goes everywhere and we're all turned into gingerbread people.
That's why we're staying friends with everybody because, if it looks like war is imminent and we want to emigrate somewhere, then we've got friends in South America where it's going to be nice and safe.
Apparently when Biden went to Ukraine a couple of days ago, they are now saying that Putin was pointing a missile at Joe Biden. I'm
not surprised.
Yeah, apparently he had one ready. It was there. His finger was hovering.
Yes.
Over the button. I don't know how true that is.
But there's been a lot of visitors to Kyiv recently. So it's very interesting. All the world leaders are going there at the moment, aren't they?
Well, Intelligent is in Ukraine.
I know. I think somebody said that, are you actually in Kyiv? Or did you like it to be pronounced Kyiv or Kiev?
Well, it's Kyiv because Kiev is the Russian pronunciation.
That's right. I know that.
So I'm going to guess that Kyiv is what they want to say.
Yes, it's funny. We've always called it Kiev all throughout our lives. And now because essentially the West is against Russia, then we're now pronouncing it Kyiv, which is fine. But yes, if that's where you are, what's it been like having all these world leaders coming to visit?
Yes.
It's incredible, really. I mean, it's all looking more and more worrying, I think.
I would like to think that there were nicer reasons for world leaders to visit your place. It's like here. People always get excited, or they used to, when the Queen of England visited a place. And apparently the Queen always thought that every building in the country smelled of wet paint because just before she visited, they would always paint the buildings. So wherever the Queen of England visited in this country, everywhere would always smell of wet paint.
The other thing is, of course, we've got to find somewhere to stay in Paris. So we would be useful if anybody knows any good hotels.
Well, apparently the Champs-Élysées at the moment is there's lots of tents along there, so we might be able to share with someone.
Right. Because if you go, I've been online, Mr. Duncan, I've been to TripAdvisor.
Have you?
And there's probably something like, there's over 1,000 hotels in Paris.
Are we being sponsored by them?
So which one you can pick the ones with high ratings, I suppose, but we're going to, if anybody knows Paris well and knows some good hotels, and where would you stay? I mean, would you stay in the centre? Would you go to the outside somewhere? I think somewhere near the near Montmartre would be good.
That's too high up. We can't stay there.
No, but at the bottom maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
And then so that we've got exercise.
I was going to say Montmartre is high up.
I know it is.
It's not at the. You don't stay at the bottom. It's all at the top.
I know, but you can stay wherever you like.
I want to stay in the Pompidou Centre just to tell people that I stay in the Pompidou Centre because I like saying Pompidou. To be honest, we're going to stay somewhere that we can afford to stay at, so we don't have many choices. We might be sleeping in a tent.
Pompidou Centre is.
I tell you what, we can shelter under the Arc de Triomphe because apparently, if it's raining, a lot of people go under there in the rain.
It's like a giant umbrella. Yes. Yeah. Montmartre is the nicest. I think it's the nicest place in. I mean, everywhere is nice in Paris, but that is particularly spectacular. All those lovely bars, all those coffee bars and cafes. It was just wonderful.
Yeah, you can go and have You can go and have a cup of tea with Renoir.
You can see the steps where they made that famous sort of film in the 1920s. I can't remember which one it was. 39 Steps, wasn't it? Something like that.
I don't know. You're telling me.
Yes. So that's it. We want some ideas of where would be a good place to stay. We're looking at 5-star and above, obviously.
Well, we'll be sleeping under 5 stars because I think we will be outside. But at least it will be June, and hopefully it will be warm at that time.
Won't be too. It'll be a nice time because I've looked it all up. There are no school holidays. They've all gone back to school after the 5th of June in the UK, and I think the same in France. I think I might be right. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So there probably are no holiday. Yes, that's the point. It's got to be.
Yes, but
We've got to avoid school. Anyway, I've looked it all up.
We've already decided, haven't we?
That's
not. Apparently, we have someone from China, a Chinese student called Van Tong Hua. Hello to Van Tong Hua. Hello to you, and a big ni hao from the UK, England. Remember us?
Is this HT?
What?
Is this the same person that's come on as HT as well?
I don't know. I'm just reading the message that Vitas left.
Oh right, I think it's HT.
Okay.
Is the handle? But is that the right phrase?
Hello, Van Tong Hua. And by the way, if you want to meet up in Paris, don't forget to send an email. And I do need a contact address. So when we start giving you the details, I need to verify that you are who you are.
Exactly.
For our safety and also for your safety as well.
The Ritz, says Palmyra, is in the centre.
Yes. Apparently the best hotel in Paris, and I know where it is. I've never stayed there. The Ambassador. You have to get a suite at the Ambassador. And that apparently is the best hotel in Paris. It's around £6,500 per night from Steve. So it could actually be more expensive per night than 6,500.
You probably just get a small little room for that, Mr. Duncan.
So apparently that's the place to stay. If you are staying and you want to impress your friends, stay at the Ambassador.
Or if you would like us to stay there, then please send donations to...
Donations? Please remortgage your house. And...
we could do some crowdfunding, Mr. Duncan.
Yeah, that's a lot of crowdfunding.
Or should we say that we will only come to Paris if we stay at the Ambassador, for which we need considerable donations.
Yes.
No, we would not abuse you in that way.
Sorry?
But we would invite you up to our suite.
What?
To meet you, wouldn't we?
No, that's literally not what's going to happen.
I'm joking.
Are you? I can never tell these days.
The Ritz is in the Vendôme. What about the Ritz then?
That's too shabby. No, the place to stay at the Ambassador. Trust me, when all the diplomats and world leaders stay in Paris, that's where they stay. They stay at the Ambassador Suite. That's what you do. But it's about I would imagine it's about £20,000 a night.
But if you phone them up and say, hello, it's Mr. Duncan here, I'm sure that you would get a considerable discount, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Just your name alone.
I know what. I can start my own OnlyFans site.
Yeah.
Yes, I could get a little bit raunchy and suggestive, and then I can get lots of hungry people sending me money every time I loosen a button on my shirt, and they go, ooh, and I say, if you want to see more, send me $1,000. And that's what happens, apparently. There are lots of ladies, lots of women at the moment making lots of money on OnlyFans. There's one lady, she makes over $1 million a month on OnlyFans, so maybe that's the way to go.
Good luck to her.
Yes, that's what I say.
Good luck to her if that's what she wants to do. Francesca has just sent us the £6,000. But that's just for one night, so we need probably 3 or 4 nights there.
Yes.
So, 25k should do it.
This is not very subtle, by the way.
Right.
You really don't know how to ask for money on YouTube. You don't do it that way. You sort of normally clutch your chest and look sad and despondent.
You don't know. We're only joking about the money, brother. We're only joking, Florence.
There are lots of nice hotels. There are what they call budget hotels, which normally means that they haven't got a roof and you sleep in a cardboard box, I think.
Jean-Christophe Aguiron, have I pronounced that correctly? It's in the south of France, but doesn't know Paris at all. So we're not going to get much help there in terms of the best hotels. I mean, Lewis has probably been to every hotel in Paris in his previous job.
Yes, I don't know.
So, which ones have got good reputations is... Anyway, Dad, we'll find one.
Yes. I think we seem to be dwelling a lot on this one detail. We don't even know how we're getting there yet. We might have to stand on the edge of the motorway and do this. We might have to hitch a ride with a big, hairy trucker.
Should we drive there?
No.
Should we get a ferry across and drive to Paris?
No.
Talking of driving, Claudia is on a bus at the moment.
Okay.
Watching us. Must be a very good signal.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
I noticed that earlier. Claudia, are you still there? Are you still watching us? Has your signal maintained itself?
So I was going to ask what's cooking Claudia, but maybe if the bus is hot, maybe Claudia is the one that's cooking because the bus is so hot, because they're having hot weather at the moment in Argentina.
The 9 degrees district of Paris is a good place for hotels. I think I'll go on to TripAdvisor and we'll just select the ones that get 4.5 or 5 stars and we'll go for those. But I looked that up. I mean, just because they get a high star rating doesn't mean that they're expensive hotels.
No, it doesn't. No. You can have good service.
Exactly.
At a hotel that's not 5-star, but also you can have poor service at a hotel that is 5 stars. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, but it is nice to have your own door. I don't want people wandering into my room at night and stroking my cap.
I don't think I want to drive. I've changed my mind.
No, we don't know how we're getting there yet. We might take the tunnel because apparently, if you've noticed, there is a big tunnel now that goes under the English Channel, and we might take the channel, the channel, the English Channel cross-continental tunnel that goes underneath the English Channel. Whew. Or we might fly.
Whichever is the cheapest method, we will do it. Or the quickest. What's the most convenient, the quickest? I would imagine flying is because we can very quickly get to Birmingham Airport.
Yes.
And go across from there.
Sadly, they don't have an airport in Much Wenlock, unfortunately. Although they could tie us to an elastic band and flick us like a catapult.
There is a private a private airfield not far from here, only about 10 miles from here.
Is it?
Yes, so we could get, a private jet.
I don't think private jets go from there.
Well, maybe a turboprop aeroplane.
I think jets take off. Is it Cosford?
No, there's one at Halfpenny Green, it's called.
Oh, there aren't jets.
Halfpenny Green.
Private jets don't take off from there.
Well, private planes. Let's say
Yes.
private planes. We can go over in a Cessna.
Yeah, a little Cessna.
Yes.
Why not?
Do we want to be near the airport? I don't think so.
Yeah.
We want to be in the hub of everything.
Yes, I want to be surrounded by French people. I want to hear the accent all the time, every day.
We've got to learn some French before we go. What was that hotel we stayed at when we went with the company?
I can't remember. I keep wanting to say Hilton, but it wasn't. It wasn't the Paris Hilton.
It was the only big,
Anyway.
tall
Yes.
hotel.
Yes.
It was quite away from the centre, I seem to remember. I can't
Okay.
remember what it was called, though.
No, well, that was interesting.
It was, but there was security everywhere, weren't there? Lots of members, submachine guns wandering around the lobby.
That's normal in Paris. You do realise that, I hope, that there is
I'm not saying I realise, I'm just commenting.
a lot of security around, especially when we're there, Steve. In fact, we might have to take our own bodyguards.
Well, I think so.
Yes,
definitely.
we might have to have someone with us, taking care of us, pushing.
What if Pedro's coming? Pedro can guard us because we know,
Okay.
because he's bodybuilding, he'll be able to protect us against all harm. Just one fierce look, and they'll all run away.
We've been talking non-stop for 45 minutes.
We haven't even discussed the subject today.
We haven't
which is-
talked about anything. We've talked about breasts. We've talked about babies. We've talked about Paris. We've talked about Princess Diana. I don't know how all of those subjects are linked, but we managed to do it. We did.
Carita Express in Indonesia is going to bed.
Yes.
Good night. Sleep tight. Carita Express. That sounds like the name of like an airline or a bus or a train that would take you very quickly to your destination.
Sorry, Carita. Mr. Steve has just referred to you as a bus.
Well, we've got a bus company called National Express, and express, of course, means it fast, doesn't it? Get somewhere quickly.
It's actually called National now, but there you go.
That used to be called National Express. Okay, right.
Oh, Lewis is saying it might be the Hilton that we stayed at.
No, it was quite away from the. It was about a mile from the.
Yes, the nearest place to it was actually the Arc de Triomphe was not far away.
That's right.
But
it
even
wasn't
then,
too far.
it was quite a long way. But it is. I think it's one of the tallest buildings in Paris.
It was a very big tour. I think it had like 2,000 rooms. It's a big international hotel.
Yes.
That was we walked to the Arc de Triomphe in about 15, 20 minutes, didn't we?
Yes.
But I can't remember what it was called
No.
now. So annoying. I'll
Big,
have to look that up.
posh Hilton. I think it was Hilton or something like that.
It was like a big
It's,
slab.
Yes. Well, it's just a big building.
Yeah.
Just think of a big building in Paris, and it's a hotel, and that will be the place. But all I can say is their breakfasts were awful.
Yes.
So if you do stay at this posh hotel, don't have breakfasts and avoid the eggs, because their eggs are disgusting. I don't know what it was. I think it was powdered eggs.
Well, I think because it was a company trip, and there were probably there must have been about 400 people staying there just from our company, and we didn't have breakfast with the rest of the hotel. It was a separate room, so we obviously got some cheapo breakfast that they'd laid on. I seem to remember at the time.
So there's a good advertisement for French hotels.
Well, the hotel. Well, I think it's just known as a sort of international hotel.
Yes.
But it was quite strange because it was literally one side was facing the Eiffel Tower,
okay.
and the other side was facing away from it.
Well, like
So-
most hotels.
I know, but so I'm just saying that if you were on the other side, all you got when you looked out of your window was the view of rows and rows of tents
Yes.
from obviously poor people who were living on the street.
Oh, there are many migrants living in Paris.
Yeah.
On the streets. So it's not an unusual sight, let's just say, and it's a rather sad sight as well.
Anyway, we were doing our research, and that actually wasn't a bad. When you think about it, that wasn't a bad hotel, really.
No, except for the breakfast was disgusting, and also there are lots of people with machine guns.
But at least
around.
you know you're safe.
Yes, you do, unless of course the bad people have machine guns as well. Then you have to get as low as you can on the ground.
I do remember it was a gigantic hotel.
It was big. It's one of the biggest buildings in Paris. We seem to be talking about this a lot. So we're talking a lot about a hotel that we didn't like and we're not staying at ever again.
Well, it was free, so I wasn't complaining at the time. Right.
Anyway.
Whew, my voice is going, Mr. Duncan,
Yes.
so I think
well, there is a God. We are talking about law and order today, being in prison, maybe being punished for something you've done that's bad or wrong. That's what we're talking about in a few minutes. So we are going maybe into prison, maybe a place where people go. There you can see there is me. I'm the tough prison guard who will take no nonsense, and there is Mr. Steve, who always looks forward to shower time for some reason. Oh dear, it's too easy. So we're going to have a quick break. I'm going to drink some water, and then we're back with
Crime and Punishment.
Crime and Punishment with Mr. Steve. I was just saying to Steve, that's what nuclear war looks like. It's a very good representation of how it goes down. Here we go. It's English Addict, and we are live on YouTube for a Wednesday. I hope you are feeling good today. Today we are looking at an interesting subject, Mr. Steve. We are looking at punishment. When was the last time anyone punished you for anything?
Probably my mother. Or my father. I can't remember.
I hear that she used to put you over her knee and give your bare bottom a big spanking until it was cherry red.
I was always a very good boy. Not always, of course.
I don't believe that for a second.
Everyone is naughty when they're children.
Punishment.
Right.
Anyway, moving on, Steve. I would love to hear your life story, but we don't have time. Punishment, Steve. Punishment. There you can see there's me. So that's Officer Duncan. And there he is, convict Steve. He's in prison and he's done an awful crime.
What have I done?
It's your crime of passion.
Crime of passion.
Yes. And I'm there to keep you under control with my big truncheon. And if there's one thing Mr. Steve likes seeing, it's a big truncheon.
How predictable, Mr. Duncan, how predictable.
Here we go then.
A crime of passion, shall we explain that?
Not really.
A crime of passion.
Something done out of anger.
Or love. You know, you come back and you find your partner in bed with somebody else.
Yeah.
And then you murder your partner. It's a crime of passion.
Yes. Or maybe they won't let you join in and you get angry. Punish, the act of chastising. I love that word, by the way, chastise. It sounds like an old-fashioned word, but apparently people still use it quite often. So you chastise, you punish someone, you scold them. That's another one, scold as well. So to punish is to give out discipline. We must punish those who want to harm us. Punishment. It is something that is given out as a form of discipline. And I think it's quite an interesting word. Chastise as well. Punishment is the individual discipline. So you might think of certain types of punishment that are given out. You punish someone. We must let the punishment fit the crime. It's a little bit like Gilbert and Sullivan.
There is a song, yes.
To let the punishment fit the crime, the punishment fit the crime. There. So the word punishment is the individual discipline. So when you discipline someone, you are being harsh with them, quite often in the form of some type of punishment. A crime carried out. The punishment is given in return. So you carry out punishment normally in response to a person who's committed a crime. You do commit crime. If you do commit crime, you must do the time. I like that one. So if you commit crime, you must be willing to do the time. So that means that you have to accept that there will be some punishment. In school, for example, were you ever punished at school?
Yes.
Oh.
I was, yes. Not very often. I think I was caned once in the days when you did do that. I don't think they do caning in schools, certainly not in the UK anymore. No. I think I did maybe once or twice. I don't remember it particularly being... I can't even remember what I did now. I didn't do anything. I didn't set the school alight or anything like that.
I remember being unfairly punished for pulling a branch off a tree, and it wasn't me. It wasn't me that did it, but I was still punished for it. And I had to go to the head teacher's office. There was myself and 2 other pupils, and we had to hold our hand out, and she slapped the back of our hands twice. And I remember it was very painful, and I did cry slightly, just a little bit. But yes, so it has. I've been punished at school, and unfortunately...
What about by your parents?
Oh, all the time. All the time. I was thrown around. I was beaten. A couple of windows were broken as I went through them. I was kept in detention after class. Detention is a form of punishment that often happens at school, isn't it?
From the word detain.
Yes.
To keep back.
Yes. So you might finish your school day, but unfortunately, because you've been naughty in class, you might have to stay back. You might have to stay behind. I was kept in detention after class. I can't go to the school party because of what I did. So that is another type of punishment. They might stop you from doing something. So they might keep you in school longer as punishment, or they might stop you from doing something as well as a form of punishment. Punishment can be physical or correctional. So when we think of physical punishment, maybe in certain countries they still have physical punishment. Maybe you are beaten or whipped. Although some people would pay very good money to have that. And of course, correctional. So when we think of correctional, what are we talking about?
Prison, being detained by His Majesty's government. Yes, you would think of a correctional facility or a prison is what you would think about, which of course is what happens to most people if they're found guilty of a crime that merits a prison sentence. As you mentioned earlier, the punishment must fit the crime. So if you just shoplift, for example, you probably wouldn't necessarily go to prison for that, unless you've done it lots of times, although in some countries you might have your hand chopped off for stealing, even small amounts.
This is it, yes. So as I mentioned, physical. So physical can be anything that is harmful or inflicting pain, or in some cases maybe they might chop part of your body off.
Yeah, they do in some Arab countries,
depending on what you've done. So you have to be careful. If you feel like you're going to do a bit of flashing, be careful.
You might have something else chopped off.
You'll have many shortcomings.
Yes, I mean the prison populations are overflowing, so they tell us. I think crime, though, on the whole, has been coming down. At least reported crime, because there's a big disparity. Is there not? Disparity or difference between crime that is actually reported and crime that is actually solved in some way. There's a lot of, particularly in the UK now, there's a lot of crimes that aren't being punished at all or even detected. So burglaries, car thefts, for example, I think only a very, very small proportion of them are actually even investigated now. They just don't bother in the UK anymore.
I suppose we describe that as petty crime. So something that is petty is not really serious. So I suppose people are spending more time investigating serious crimes, which we will talk about.
But the number of particularly under successive. This sounds political now. But I'll just say under successive governments for many years now, we've had the number of police cut back significantly, haven't we? Over many decades, there's far less police than there used to be, and they just apparently cannot cope with the amount of crime. So it appears that crime is falling because they only those figures, they only look at crimes that have been solved, but how many aren't even reported anymore?
Anyway, I've got to get on with this because I wasn't intending to stay for an hour, but we are now. We no longer use physical punishment here. So many places, I suppose that's a good way of stating that in many places, prisons nowadays, they don't normally inflict physical punishment.
Not in the state system.
No, and certainly not in this country, not in our institutions. He was sent to a correctional facility. So quite often in American English, they will often refer to any incarceration or imprisonment. They will often refer to it as a correctional facility.
Yeah, prison or jail is are other phrases that you can use.
Yes, we often say prison here now.
We do.
We used to say jail. So the culprit, some interesting words to look at here, Steve. The culprit is the wrongdoer, the person who has committed the crime, they've done the bad thing. And the justice is the punishment. So a person who's done something bad, they've broken the law, will have to meet their justice, unfortunately, because they've done something bad and they have to pay for their crime, For this crime, you will serve at least 10 years. So that is a good way of stating the punishment. Maybe a person has to go to prison for a very long time because they've done something very bad. A parent, now this, Steve, this is a good subject. A parent might punish their child. A very controversial subject, one that always gets people angry. Some parents do believe that they should be able to beat their children, give them a slap across the face or head, or a quick kick. A parent might punish their child. But these days, of course, many parents are deciding that that is not a good idea. Physical punishment is not a good idea.
So you can be imprisoned for it and your children can be taken away.
Yes, this is it. True. So you might take away your child's computer instead. You will do things that aren't physical. They are ways of punishing them without actually hurting them. So you might take away the child's computer.
Or even worse, their mobile phone.
Yes.
Because taking away somebody's mobile phone these days is like almost like cutting off a limb, isn't it? Because mobile phones are so essential, particularly for younger generations.
Yes.
I mean, I just, a lot of people carry them around everywhere with them, don't they?
Yes, I think most people do, but kids especially, because they like to do their TikToks and their Instagrams. Is that right? I sound so cool and trendy when I say that. So a parent might punish their child, take away their computer or their mobile phone. They might even keep them indoors as well. You might keep them in the house. You might say that you have to stay in. You can't go out and see your friends. You ground them. I like that. So you ground someone. You stop them from having any free movement.
You're grounded.
You keep them at home, although nowadays that is not really a punishment. So you might have to do both of those things to make it work.
Yeah, because they're indoors all the time anyway.
They're indoors anyway in the house because they spend most of the time on their laptops or on their iPhones talking to their friends, so that they're probably at home anyway. So you might need to do something else as well. A light, now this is something we mentioned earlier, a light or petty crime. Can you think of a couple of petty crimes?
Yes, shoplifting would be seen as a petty crime.
You might go into the local shop and steal something. Ooh.
Petty's like small. Small it means, doesn't it? Like petite. A petty crime, probably, yes, if you stole somebody's wallet, probably pickpocketing is probably a petty crime. The implication is that it doesn't have any serious consequences on the person that the crime is against.
Yes. So normally, generally, it's theft.
Yes, I don't think so. If you robbed somebody, I think burglary is definitely not a petty crime.
No. So once you start damaging a person's property or causing physical harm to another person,
yes,
then it becomes serious.
I mean, yes, it's things like shoplifting, where small amounts are stolen.
Spraying graffiti on a shop wall.
Yes.
So maybe on a wall, you might like to put your tag. Ooh, do you like that? Your tag. So a lot of people who are graffiti artists, they normally have a special sign or signature, and they call it their tag. So a light or petty crime normally gets light punishment. A serious crime, I suppose you can think of probably two very obvious ones.
Yes, murder, armed robbery would be a serious crime. Probably, embezzlement. Embezzlement, that's a good one, isn't it? Where you steal somebody else's money, probably from a company or something like that, or maybe you're looking after somebody's money. You're a manager for somebody, and you secretly siphon off the money from their bank account and use it for your own means.
Yes,
That would be serious.
Sometimes accountants will actually slowly steal the money. So yes, they normally face very heavy fines or heavy punishment, quite often going to prison. But yes, violence towards another person, and of course, needless to say, if you take someone's life, definitely. If you meant to do it, if you did it on purpose, you probably will go to prison for a very long time.
What about a heinous crime?
Heinous
crime.
Yes, something that is sickening.
Sickening, like heinous, like if a child is murdered.
It's actually heinous, but
heinous or heinous, yeah, you can pronounce it both ways, I think. Is a crime where maybe you've had a sexual nature, or a child's being murdered, something that's abhorrent, that you would really is shocking, then you describe that as a heinous or a heinous crime.
Yes, something that's outrageous.
For which then gets the maximum sentence.
Definitely.
And of course, murdering a police officer is seen as a very, very serious crime. And in certain countries, I think in America, it's almost mandatory, isn't it? You get the death sentence if you're in one of those states that hand out. If you murder a policeman, it's automatically a capital punishment in some countries.
We're talking about that in a moment.
Okay.
In fact, we're talking about now corporal punishment. Corporal punishment is punishment that's physical, but not life-changing.
Like being whipped.
You're whipped or beaten, or maybe you have your bottom slapped a few times, or maybe someone smears jelly all over your body, and then they, oh, hang on, no, that's a different thing altogether. Corporal punishment is punishment that's physical, but it won't cause permanent damage. Capital punishment, well, yes, it does cause permanent damage. So corporal punishment is physical. Capital punishment is fatal. They basically execute the person.
Capital that comes from like decapitate, i.e. chop your head off.
I think it just means the top or the biggest punishment possible.
Right.
So a capital offence is seen as the most serious of all the crimes that you could commit. So capital punishment, like we said earlier, it fits the crime. Let the punishment fit the crime. And I suppose I know a lot of states in the United States now don't have capital punishment. Many have actually outlawed it. But I think you are right, Steve. If you murder a police officer, yes, I think it's straight to the electric chair. Although I don't think they do that now, do they?
I don't think they. I don't know whether. Yeah, I don't know whether they use.
They don't
electricity to kill people anymore.
It's all lethal injections, just like China.
Right.
China have some of the strictest capital punishment rules in the world.
Right.
They do. If you carry a weapon, especially a gun, that's it. If you're caught with a gun in China, that's it. Execution. No questions asked. There's no leniency. I think also drugs as well. If you are manufacturing drugs or selling drugs, that's it. Say goodnight to life.
Intelligent asks, do we have capital punishment in the UK? The answer to that is no. I think it was in the 1960s was probably the last person that was hung. We used to hang people in the UK. That was our preferred method for capital punishment.
Yes, we found it a little bit more fun to watch.
A good old hanging.
Yeah, when they're sort of jumping up and down at first.
That must be horrible. I'd rather go by lethal injection.
Yes, or well, to be honest, I think the medieval punishments were the best. It's just chop the heads off pretty quick.
Yes, I mean that's quick, isn't it? Having your head chopped off, but there's a lot of build-up to that, isn't there?
Poor old Mary, Queen of Scots.
Yes.
She did nothing wrong. She did nothing wrong at all. She didn't commit any crimes. All she wanted to do was sit on her big throne in Scotland, and that's it. But no, Elizabeth I had her executed. She set her up. It's terrible. So these things used to happen, and people were just having their heads chopped off all the time. In those days, I think it was in the mid 1500s. They were all just doing it.
I think we used to use an axe, didn't we?
Well, how else would you do it?
Well, we didn't use the French method of the guillotine.
Well, they invented it.
We used to use a big axe,
a bread knife.
And then, of course, that's a bit messy, so we went on to hanging.
Yeah, it's not very good.
I don't know when that came in, but they're not things you'd look forward to, are they?
They're not. Well, I suppose the rule is don't commit crime, and yes, most punishment is there to stop people from doing these things.
A deterrent.
Yes,
a deterrent. But they've. I think that if you look at the research, I think they sort of don't think that capital punishment really is much of a deterrent. Which I think probably you can see that certainly in America. I mean, the numbers of mass shootings that are going on. Mind you, most of the people that commit the mass shootings kill themselves, don't they?
Well, yes.
So they don't never get punished as such.
Well, that leads to the interesting point that you make. They have nothing to lose. A person with nothing to lose is probably a very dangerous person. So capital punishment might be seen as that person having nothing to lose. So they will do more damage or cause more harm or do something that's really bad because they know they have nothing to lose if they...
Go on. Yeah, Christina says, of course, in the past they used to torture people, didn't they? Maybe on the rack.
Some people say that this live stream is being used in some prisons to torture the inmates.
Could well be.
Yeah.
To make them go straight, as they say.
As it were.
They used to say if you're going straight, it means you're not committing crime.
A lot of people try to make us go straight.
Yes, that's true.
It's not going to work.
No, they used to ask, anyway, yes. So, yes, if you're going straight, a prisoner is going straight, or somebody that commits crime is, if you say you're going straight, it means that you're not committing crimes.
Yes.
In the old-fashioned sense of the word.
That's it.
Of course, it's got other connotations as well.
Okie dokie.
But
here we go. Some more words, Steve. I'm overrunning far too long today. The word punitive is a good word. Do you like that one?
I do. It's a nice word, that, Mr. Duncan.
Punitive.
Punitive.
Is punishment. So maybe something that is done, an action that is done as punishment. Punitive. Maybe you will be charged a certain amount of money, maybe a punitive fine. Penal. I love that word. Whenever I hear that word, I always have a little laugh. Because I've got a very dirty mind. Penal. Penal is a place, of course, it refers to being locked up or punished or imprisoned. So maybe you have a penal colony, a place where lots of people have done bad things and they're all being kept together. Disciplinary. Oh, yes. If you've been naughty at work.
You will be subject to disciplinary action. Disciplinary action. So you might have your wages cut. You might be sacked.
Yes.
You might all sorts of things. You know, if you do something bad at work, say you hit somebody, could be instant dismissal. Or you could have a black mark put against you. I can't remember what the phrase is now. When you
could be demoted.
You could be demoted. Yes.
You could lose the job, and you will keep your job, but you will be at a lower position with less pay. Yes. So also corrective, as we mentioned earlier, quite often prisons, jails, places where people are kept.
And that's when it's corrective. It means they're trying to change the way you think and make you account for your crime and then change your behaviour so that you don't commit crime in the future. So you undergo corrective discipline.
Yes. One of the interesting things, of course, about prison is a lot of people say that going into prison teaches you more about how to be a criminal. So because everyone in there are criminals, all the people are criminals, they just swap and exchange all of their ideas for committing crimes. So when they come out, they have lots of new ideas.
Well, that's the trouble. If you're put in a place with people that commit crimes, you're likely to find out more about how to commit crimes. If you go into an area where there are lots of people who are building a business, you're probably going to learn how to build a business. Or, whoever you associate with, you're likely to become part of that group. By the way, Zadabek Raximov, who is Zurshid's student, says hi. And you were there on Sunday, I believe, as well. So, nice to have you back.
We also have in reprisal as well. Reprisal just means revenge. You are doing something in response to that thing.
Revenge. A dish best served cold, as they say.
They say that. The Klingons say it.
Yes.
Here we have a phrase. Crime does not pay. If you commit crime, if you think you have got away with it, remember, eventually they will find you. They will track you down. A bad deed often leads to trouble. So you do something bad, you do something wrong, maybe you get away with it, you are successful in your crime, but eventually you will be found out somehow.
That's the implication. The reality is probably far from different, because I think crime actually does pay, because not many people get caught. So I think there's a lot more people get away with crime than actually get caught. Otherwise, if that phrase was actually true, we wouldn't have any crime. Would we?
No. If it worked, there would be no criminals.
But we have lots of criminals, so a certain proportion, probably the majority of them, get away with it. And so for a lot of them, it does pay.
Yes. Here's another one. Another phrase. Spare the rod, spoil the child. So I think there is something similar to this. I think this might be biblical, or it's similar to something that is biblical. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Not punishing a child for their bad behaviour will lead to the child being difficult in later years. So if you don't punish your child somehow, in some way, then you are telling them that they can do anything they want in life, and that it might be a bad influence.
Yeah, there's no consequences for your actions, is what that phrase is saying. I mean, the rod means, a stick or something, but it doesn't. It can be metaphorical.
That's it. It's more figurative in the sense of just punishment.
Yes.
So if you don't punish your child, you will spoil them.
Just like if you don't discipline a dog, then it will always be a badly behaved dog.
Yes.
And children are probably no different. So how you choose to punish for whatever the child has done, the bad behaviour, is obviously up to you. But the phrase is indicating that if you don't punish for bad behaviour, then you're just going to have a very badly behaved child.
A lot of parents these days do not want to punish their child at all. They think that their child will learn their own lessons on their own.
And of course, modern families, both parents are working hard to bring money in. Maybe they haven't got the time to spend on properly bringing up their children. But what that means is that those children can grow up and then commit really serious crimes later on in life.
I think you do need a certain amount of discipline in the family unit, where at least the child understands the difference between right and wrong.
And you've got boundaries.
Yes.
boundaries. So that means that, set boundaries that certain styles of behaviour that are not acceptable.
That's it. Finally, and this is it, finally, Steve, I bet you're glad to hear that word. Punishment can also be financial.
Oh, right,
Yes. So you might not go to prison. You might not lose a hand or some other part of your body, but you will lose your money.
Yeah, and lots of petty sort of crimes like speeding. Lots and lots of. This is a good way, of course, for governments and local councils to get an income. Parking fines. There's another petty crime. Well, are they even crimes? I don't know whether. I suppose technically they're. Well, I don't think they're crimes, are they? No, they're infringements of the law.
So local laws that are infringed.
Yes.
So you break laws, but you won't go to prison for them. But they will make you pay some money.
So you're breaking the law if you speed, but it's not necessarily a crime unless you crash and injure somebody.
But I'm also thinking about other ways as well, Steve. If you're running a business and maybe your business is an operation that's doing something illegal, they will take away all the money.
That has happened to lots of big companies, hasn't it?
Yeah.
They've been fined billions. And America are very good at this. They're very good at fining big corporations for infringements of certain behaviours that they shouldn't be doing. They might be conducting their business in an illegal way in some fashion.
Or maybe if they're supplying drugs or something like that, or weapons, they're doing something that is illegal, and they get caught, and they've got millions and millions of dollars or pounds, and all of that money is then taken away.
And if a pharmaceutical company, for example, manufactures a drug, and it has, they don't label it correctly, and it causes injury to somebody, then they'll be fined for not conducting their business in a proper manner, because there'll be laws in place that govern the way businesses are run, and normally that will restrict a business in its the amount of profit it can make. And if a company can try and get away with that by not some of its manufacturing processes, they're a bit lax with some of the health and safety or something like that. Health and safety, that's another one where people often get companies can get into trouble if they don't look after their employees in the right way.
Someone gets injured or killed.
The pension fund isn't looked after, and the money's siphoned off for other parts of the business, for example, that the company will be fined for that. But yes, paying fines is a common way of being punished.
That's it, by the way. That's it. That's today's subject, all about crime and punishment. All I can say, my only advice is don't break the rules. Don't break the rules. Don't break the law. Stay good.
Intelligence says here, is there a word or phrase for a crime that is done unknowingly?
Well,
if manslaughter, for example. Manslaughter is if you accidentally kill somebody but you didn't intend to. That's an example. You might accidentally kill somebody.
Yes.
You didn't intend to. Maybe a child ran out in front of your car. You didn't murder them. You didn't intend to kill them, but maybe you were speeding at the time, and that would be seen as manslaughter.
Yes.
And sometimes a crime of passion, if you murder somebody because, you go back and you find your partner in bed with somebody else,
yes,
and you immediately, you're going to a fit of rage. So it's not premeditated. You didn't plan it.
No.
You just, through total loss of control, you kill somebody.
Yes.
That can often be seen as manslaughter because you didn't intend to do it.
Okay.
So that's
Steve,
sort of unknowingly. I just explained it's a good question. Right.
But yes, It's worth mentioning also that manslaughter is different in different countries. I think they're more lenient, they're more open with that term in the United States. They often use it for many things. Even if a person goes up to another person and shoots them, they can still be done for manslaughter, which I find interesting.
It just depends whether it's whether you planned it or
yes,
not. I think is the
that's
key.
it. Yes, and also
point.
they shouldn't call it that. That's sexist. They should call it person slaughter.
Right.
Anyway, it's time to go, Steve.
Right, that's just one example.
Yeah, right.
Intelligent. Right, okay. Yeah, most crimes, of course, are planned, aren't they? Robberies, and if you go and steal something, most crimes are actually planned. They're not accidental. But sometimes you might accidentally kill or injure somebody. Don't have to by, and you didn't intend to. Right,
No,
that's it.
That's it. Whew. That's exhausted me now, today's lesson, by the way. I am exhausted. I think I'm going to have a nap at around about 4 o'clock. Does that sound like a good idea?
What, fine, yes. Okay, so that's half an hour from now.
Good. Thank you very much for your company. We have enjoyed being here with you today. And we will be back on Sunday. Back with you again. You can't keep us off YouTube. You really, really can't. A lot of people try. If you want to get in touch concerning the trip to Paris, we are hoping to meet up with some of our English addicts. There is the address. Get in touch and I will send you a message back to let you know I've received it, and then we will go from there if you are interested in doing it, and then we will do all of the arrangements away from YouTube, not on here. That is it, Steve. Thank you for your company.
Yes, lovely to be here. Hope you've learnt something today. Hope you've enjoyed it. And I look forward to seeing you also on Sunday.
I must admit, I have enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun, actually, to be honest with you. Let's do it all again on Sunday. And of course, until the next time we meet here, you know what's coming next. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday and the rest of the week. And until then, from Mr. Steve and myself, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Ta-ta for now. I need to sleep.